In this video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the things that you need to know about creating simple animations in Blender in around 5 minutes. So let's get started. The main way of creating animations in Blender is to use keyframes. I'm going to click and drag to increase the size of the timeline. With the cube selected, I'm going to press the I key on my keyboard. This is going to create a keyframe for the transforms of my cube. If we take a look in the properties panel, you can see that all of the transforms have now been colored yellow. This indicates that a keyframe has been created for them. In the timeline, we can see that we have a yellow diamond that has appeared on the first frame. This also indicates that a keyframe has been created. This is the first of 2 keyframes that we need to create for a simple animation. I'm going to scrub my timeline by clicking and dragging, and then finish on frame 120. The transform values now appear green. This indicates that we're on a different frame, but keyframes were created previously for these values. Next, we're going to make a change. For example, I can move my cube along the y-axis to about here. Now the Y location value is highlighted orange. This indicates a change has been made. However, the keyframe has not been created with that change in mind. If I press the I key a second time, it's going to add a keyframe once again for all of those values, whether they were changed or not. The timeline allows us to control our animation using these 6 keys. The first option allows us to jump to the start of our animation. The last option will jump to the last frame of the animation, in this case frame 250. If we go back to the start and press on the play button, it's going to play our animation within the 3D viewport. You can see the change in location starts from frame 1, where we positioned the initial keyframe, and finishes on frame 120, where the second keyframe was created. You can use these jump to keyframe options as well, to jump to any frame that has a keyframe associated to that point in the animation. This button here allows us to play the animation, but in reverse. So we can go forward or backwards in time using these 2 keys. If you have actual values visible, then you may have these triangles next to those associated values. These allow us to animate specific properties where they are visible. For example, let's move to frame 180. And then we can make a change to one of these values, for example, rotating along the z-axis. Now I can left click on this diamond shape here, and it's going to add a keyframe to that specific value. It doesn't add keyframes to any of the other transform values in this list. So now I can go back to the start, press play, and it will run through the animation, both with the location and secondly with the rotation. You can also add animations automatically by enabling the record function with auto keying. I can enable the auto keying functionality and choose the specific frame that I want. Then I can make a change to one of the transforms. For example, I can scale my cube on the z-axis. You'll see in the top corner that auto keying is currently switched on. So when I make this change and I confirm it, that change is going to be added as a keyframe. Remember when you're done with auto keying to turn it off. Now if I press play, I create an animation where I first move the object, then rotate it, and then scale it. To render an animation, go to the render option and then select animation. However, before you do that, make sure to set your output. Here you can choose your render engine, which should be done before you start creating the keyframes. For the output, you can come down to choose your resolution, aspect ratio, your frame range, which is going to be the total number of frames accessible, but perhaps most importantly, the output. Here, you'll be able to define the location where you want to save your rendered animation. By default, it's the temporary folder. You'll want to create a blank folder for any animation that you create. Also, you can choose the file format. By default, it's set to PNG. But if you want to create an animation or movie file, choose FFmpeg video from this list. You can also define things such as the color management or the encoder. So here I could choose MPEG-4 as my container and H.264 as my video codec. So that wraps up the fundamentals of creating animations in a little over 5 minutes or so. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notifications bell icon for updates on future Blender related tutorials.